Let's have a talk about simplicity. Simplicity doesn't mean losing anything. So when you hear a talk about simplicity, don't worry about losing the nice things in your life. An enlightened life is a simple life, meaning an overcomplicated life is a way of self-sabotaging yourself. Overcomplication goes against self-love. And as you know, in capitalistic economies, when there's so many goods available, what happens is you lose control to your five senses. The five senses will never stop wanting. So forget the idea that you're going to meditate so much that your five senses are going to stop wanting. That's never going to happen. What really needs to happen is you need to find a technique to access your heart. When you access the truth of your heart, you get in touch with your needs instead of your wants. There's a big difference between needs and wants. The needs are coming from your soul, from your heart. The needs are your list of what's important to you. What's important to most human beings is some wealth to be comfortable, adequate health, peace of mind, love. Obviously, there's some sexual activity with the loved one. That's just a human instinct. Shelter, food, a life direction or life purpose that makes sense to you, so you want to show up at that job or life direction every day, and some connection with a higher power. If you leave the ego alone, you convince yourself that my name, my first name and last name, versus 8.5 billion people, if you try to convince yourself that's the only reality, you're going to get scared. Because you versus 8.5 billion people is too scary. But if you feel some connection to a higher force, bigger than your first name and last name, that's a very safe, good, loving feeling. I should mention that there are two base emotions in all of human existence. There's love on the one side and fear on the other side. Love comes from the heart and the soul. Fear comes from the ego, from the busy mind, and from the five senses. If you follow fear, if you follow the emotion of fear, you're going to be stuck in the ego self, in the busy mind, and in the five senses. And those parts of you are always going to be desiring more and more and more. Nothing wrong with desire, but when desire becomes ceaseless, then there's kind of madness. And the mind, when it becomes a beehive mind, it's a mind that's distracted. And a distracted, busy mind is going to be giving you knee-jerk reactions. What happens when you follow fear, when you follow the five senses, when you follow distractions, you're going to get into fear and anxiety because your nervous system gets tired. If you walk into a huge shopping center and you turn all control over to your five senses, those five senses are not going to stop desiring. They see a Rolex watch, and 5 stores down, they're going to see an Omega. And both of them are going to be attracted. And if you give control over to the five senses, your nervous system is going to get very tired. And when the nervous system gets tired, anxiety, fear, lack of contentment start to set in. Take a Kriya Yoga breath straight to the center of your heart. At the center of your heart, you're going to start hearing in silence, in a state of peace, you're going to start hearing what's important to you. Is it your grandchild, your child? Is it a good cause in society? Is it your dance, your singing, your musical instrument? Find out what's not temporary. Whatever is temporary and passing, whatever is non-lasting, belongs to the world of ego, mind, and five senses. Whatever is lasting belongs to the truth of your heart and your soul. Follow your inborn talents. What are you talented at? What creates a lot of curiosity for you? What is it that you're researching all the time? You're always interested in that topic. And those will be closer to your inborn talents and your natural inclinations. Find out what your talent is. Find out what you're endlessly interested in. Find out what makes you passionate, and turn that into your life direction, your life purpose. And then just show up every day at a job, at an activity that means something to you. It could be helping cancer patients, it could be mechanical engineering, it could be playing your violin. Whatever it is that suits your nature and your inborn talents and your endless passion, that's going to be your dharma. Follow your dharma every day and life becomes very simple. You take a guitarist that has, like Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix had a ceaseless desire and inclination to play that electric guitar. He would hang it from his neck first thing in the morning, and he would show up every day with that guitar. And that makes a simpler life. Also, find out what your direction is versus the reality show and social media. If you fall into a flock, if you fall in with the big crowd, you're going to lose the truth of your heart. Now you know there's all this social media, all the distractions, all the reality shows, and if you're not careful, you just get in with the crowd. And then you start losing the truth of your heart. Another comment about a simple life: all your ambitions and all your material possessions must be serving your happiness. In other words, if you have a second car, that second car must be serving your happiness. If you have 13 shoes in your closet, all 13 pairs must be serving your happiness or the happiness of your loved ones. Same thing with the second vacation home. If you're not visiting it often, frequently enough, then out it goes. So I'm not telling you what to do, but if you want a simple life with everything there, in other words, you have ample money, you have contentment, peace of mind, health, connection to a life force, a job that makes sense to you, that's not a bad life. That's a very good life. There's just no extras in it. If the vacation home is just costing you tax money and you're visiting 6 days out of the year, out it goes. Also, a comment about the meditative mind. As you start to meditate, as you take the Kriya Yoga breath into your heart, not only do you realize what your true needs are, but your mind becomes quieter. As the mind becomes quiet, there's less fear and anxiety. With a busy mind, you start having a scared mind. In other words, a busy mind that gets distracted, that mind starts to get into fear and anxiety. And you start having knee-jerk reactions. And knee-jerk reactions complicate life. As an example, let's say you have an anxious mind, and the anxious mind starts to get worried about your wife, whose phone call to you is 15 minutes late, and you start imagining all these things, bad things happening to her, and then you call the police, and you start creating chaos. That's a knee-jerk reaction. But a meditative mind is focused, it's quieter, it's more in touch with reality. A meditative mind is in touch with your heart, so you know the desires of your heart. And those are needs versus wishes. Wishes come from your five senses. If you start satisfying your wishes, you'll be lost in a hall of mirrors. There will be no end to them. What are your needs? Food, shelter, procreation, loving somebody that you love, following a life direction that makes sense to you, seeking a higher power beyond your ego, ample money, health, contentment. It's not such a complicated list. Anyways, I just want to end this talk by telling you that simplicity doesn't take away what you enjoy, as long as you realize what the enjoyment of your heart is, instead of the endless desires of your ego and five senses. We'll have more talks like this. Many blessings to you.